The service itself should constitute loan repayment. So every year you work, you knock off part of the loan. Now, you can say I'm crazy, but I think that's transformative. I think when you change other people's lives, you're doing what presidents are supposed to do. And finally, she says we can neither rebuild the middle class nor reclaim the future for our kids unless we make a serious, all-out effort to make America a clean, efficient, independent energy country. Moving beyond. Now, for those of you who care about global warming, you know this, but even if the United States and Europe and Canada and Japan, the wealthiest countries in the world, agree to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by lowering their economic growth, you know as well as I do that China, India, Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, Mexico, all the countries rising in incomes, they will never agree to do that. And so we'll burn up the planet anyway. The only way we can get other countries to follow us is to A, show that we are willing to rejoin the world's effort to reduce greenhouse gases, and B, prove that it's good economics, not bad. We'll create more jobs in more places that are more sustainable by liberating ourselves from the carbon economy than by staying where we are. And think about it. Think about it. If we made a commitment to biofuels, to eliminating all landfills and turning the organic matter there into biomass for electricity or biofuels, get rid of them all. They are highly intensive greenhouse gas producers. If we made a commitment to maximizing the transformation into solar and wind and geothermal and other forms of clean energy, and if we made a commitment to retrofit every single physical structure in the United States to make it maximally efficient, it would put millions of people to work in every state, in every rural area, every small town, every suburb, and every major city of the country. That's what her energy plan does. Beginning with establishing a $50 billion clean energy fund that we start funding by repealing the tax cuts given to the oil companies in 2005 in the Dick Cheney energy bill. And then Hillary wants to say to the oil companies, for decades you've had lots of other tax breaks, the oil depletion allowance and other things. When oil was $10 a barrel and we had plenty of oil, you needed it to find the oil. When we don't have plenty of oil and oil is $100 a barrel, you don't need that. You don't need any incentive. So if you want to keep those old tax breaks, you have one choice. You can go from being an oil company to an energy company. You can put 100% of that into the pursuit of clean energy. You've got the engineers, you've got the delivery capacity. Keep the money and become a clean energy company. Otherwise, give that money to us too, and we'll do the job for America. That's what's got to be done. Now, so she's got a good vision to rebuild the middle class and reclaim the future. And the third thing we have to do is to restore America's leadership in the world for peace and prosperity and security. And, you know, more than half the world's mad at us now. You've probably noticed that. And some of it's because we went into Iraq without letting the UN inspectors finish their job after our government promised they would. That's part of it, but that's not all of it. They're also mad at us because we walked away from the fight against climate change. We walked away from the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. We walked away from the effort to control nuclear weapons and actually spent much of the last 7 years trying to develop 2 new nuclear weapons while we were telling other people they couldn't have them. We demanded to be the only country in the world exempted from the International Criminal Court on war crimes. We even, sadly, for much of the last 7 years, said that we shouldn't be covered by the Geneva Accords on human rights of people captured in combat, when our own military leadership was begging us to honor the Geneva Accords so we wouldn't put our own men and women in uniform at risk should they be captured. Now, So, Hillary wants to restore our standing. First, by terminating our involvement in the military conflict in Iraq as quickly as possible and beginning to bring our troops home. But also by sending two very different messages to the world than they have heard from us for 7 years. We want to say, first of all, hey, world out there, we know there are nearly no problems of any significance we can solve alone. We can't solve global warming alone. We can't solve terrorism alone. We can't solve the potential spread of nuclear materials alone. You just can't think of anything much that's important that we can solve alone. So from now on, our policy is going to be to cooperate with you whenever we can and act alone only when we have no other choice, not the other way around. And